Well, good morning again. I just lost a video for 25 minutes because this is just one of the Achilles heel when you're losing your memory and moving at a higher rate of speed because I become aware of other things, and if I'm not focused on hey, I got to do the next task according to this technology, which is the cell phone technology, which is just junk. Okay, it's just these cell phones and what they give you here to communicate is junk technology. Okay, so this becomes a comparative analysis. Okay, those that work in computer information sciences or computer information sciences, which is data transfer, which is information transfer. Okay, I use my neurotransmitters. Those are the most powerful transmitters of knowledge and data there is in the entire cosmos. We help build that network. Okay? Which means if this cell phone was worth a shit, okay, what it would be able to do is what I tell it to do. Which means in my conscious imagination, which is infinite light, then this cell phone would be doing what I tell it to do, not what it's trying to tell me to do. Okay? Which is all of its pop-ups, all of its programs. When you're using your consciousness to run a program that is in Google Play, some programmer built that program in order for you to use your energy, your consciousness, in order to run that program. That means you're held captive to the programmer. Okay? Like I mentioned to somebody that was walking down the sidewalk. Hey, I'm getting pop-ups all the time on my phone. It's telling me to do this, do this, do this, do this. That means it's holding my energy captive. It wants me to use all my energy in order to experience the programmer. The person that wrote the program that says, here's an app that you can get in Google Play. Now you're using your energy to experience the program that somebody else wrote. Well, do you know how to run your own programs? Do you know how to write your own program? That means you're running your own simulator. You're in a simulator. You're actually in a training simulator. It's a classroom in the Milky Way galaxy. Okay? So hopefully what you learn here while you are here is number one, how light works. How to attract more of it. So you're going at such a high rate of speed. Okay? But you're running on no memory. Instead, all of a sudden your projector kicks in, and the next thing you know is you're experiencing everything that your conscious mind is creating. Wow, you're not running anybody's program, you're running your own. That's right. Because all the images that come into my mind are running so fast, which if you want to quantify all that data, that's an enormous amount of data. It's spinning in a powerful vortex. So for example, in the last video that I did I had to delete, was talking about a lady that I noticed and I observed, okay? Observer mode, okay? Which is still experiencing mode because I'm experiencing what I'm observing. Or, if you will, what I'm aware of, what we're all aware of, okay? Because everything that we all experience is held within the light. So at the end of the day, how much light are you running? How fast are you going? Right? Okay, now we're into ISO and frame rates. You want to stop a helicopter blade? Then you need the proper film and the proper camera to be able to capture at the speed at which that blade is going, to where you just stop it. Okay, still mode, even though it's still moving. Okay, so you're able to slow the energy down, slow the speed down, and get it into a single frame rate. Okay, so when you're experiencing nothing but single frame rates, or the next one that appears in your mind, which is colors and all kinds of stuff that you can use to describe in a book. You want to write a story? You know, like writers, they want to write a story, write a book they can share with others, and they call that fiction. But for the person that's writing, it's not fiction, it's real to them because they're experiencing it in their mind. So what they do is they'll write it down, and then you'll see in some movies when they talk about writers, okay, hey, I keep crumpling up the paper and throwing it in the trash. Oh, I can't think about what to write. Oh, I can't think about what to write. I've got all these characters and ideas that I want to put together on the story that I want to write. I want to share this with everybody else to capture their attention, which is capturing their light. Okay? I'm sure we've all read books that capture our attention because it's a powerful magnet. So the writer of that story captured our imagination. Wow, what a great book to read. Particularly if you're sitting in a cage like a prison cell, right? Where your mind's being held captive, okay? And your physical body is with you. and you're experiencing what is written in that book. Wow, this thing captured my attention. That's making the time go by pretty fast, isn't it? Get it? How fast are you going? How fast are you experiencing the data? Your neurotransmitters. Why do we have neurotransmitters? Why is the heart the most powerful intelligence that we have? Because they're the most powerful neurotransmitters. That's a high-speed network. That's a high-speed neurocommunication network. That's why they go after your central nervous system. They don't want you living out of your heart. Are you kidding? Then they can't capture your mind. So you know, like I did when I was a child, you don't get this. Okay? I got a flame that burns so hot for a goddess, okay, that you can't ever put that flame out for her. Okay? She gave me this unit to use as a communication platform. Okay? In which we share and work with children. And why are children so important? Future proofs past. One of the things that I realized, for example, when I was a child. Wow, I'm reading about war. Who wants to experience that? Okay, when I can experience love. Remember the sign? Make love, not war. Okay, but that's got a double meaning in that. Make love. It's all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So you sort of have to parse all that out as well, right? Well, okay, so how do you translate all that? Well, you're the translator, just like I'm the translator. So what I do is I pull that out, which is like extracting all the data. Now, that data doesn't have any value. That data doesn't have any value. That data doesn't have any value. Okay, why is that? Because that's a lower frequency. So you're measuring all the frequencies that represent all the data that you're experiencing in the story or the movie that you're experiencing. Yes. It's a bidirectional holographic projection movie. So, for example, where I'm at in Reno, Nevada, this is low density here. I'm experiencing an enormous amount of beings that are in a state of fear. There's a lot of people that are here that are traumatized, been through a lot of hell. That's painful. I experienced the lower density consciousness because of the lower frequencies that they're experiencing who they are being here. I'd rather jump on a spaceship and take me to another galaxy. Or go over to the Big Island. Of course, it's less active now. Or anywhere there's some active living magma, okay, where she's producing a new island coming up out of the ocean. Wow. Be with a powerful transformer. Okay. That's a hell of a neurotransmitter network, isn't it? So my heart lives through her heart, through the galactic sun, okay, and experience everything that is out there to experience, which is infinite. So when you're using your conscious creative mind, which is not being held captive by something that wants to experience your energy, okay, because it's energy transfer, which is data transfer, which is experience transfer, which is frequency transfer, okay, so this is where we get into waveform harmonic alignment. Are we in alignment with that? No, because it keeps wanting to capture my energy. So I don't want it to hold me captive. So I had an experience the other day when I lost my phone because I realized, man, I'm losing my memory. That's a good thing. So I have to sort of hold on to those things that are most important to me, like Himalayan salt, avocados, alkaline water. I try and eat a lot of pineapple, all the things that represent nutrients, energy that the body can use that comes from her. Of course, that gets into the whole subject of what I mentioned before about purity in the spirit, purity in the heart, purity in the light, no contamination, etc., 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 right? Okay. So one of the things that I mentioned had to do with this lady that was going through Whole Foods yesterday, was sort of just unleashed in a lot of other stuff. And it had to do with the lady that I was observing because I was aware of it because I was right behind her. She was holding up the line because people want to go through it. So you realize, again, this is time card programming. This is how the parasitic system works. Hey, man, I got to go. My energy is valuable. My time is valuable because I'm trying to escape something that's holding me captive. Something's holding me captive. What is holding me captive? I want to go. The spirit wants to go and be free, to create its own simulation. Oh, but it can't because it's standing in line waiting for somebody else to do something. Well, what was that lady who was in front of me trying to do? She couldn't make an energetic transfer, which is a data transfer, between the money that she has in her account with another account where that energy is going to go, which is electrons, okay, from her phone into the machine. That the lady who was running the cash register machine is wanting to receive the data, which is to receive the electrons that is represented by money systems. Money systems. Okay, so the money system is expecting more electrons from this lady that she has acquired as a result of what she does while she's here. Chances are, of course, I don't know because I didn't ask the lady, but I know that when I was growing up as a child, one of the things that was impressed upon me by my father, but it naturally comes to us, which is, what are you doing with your energy? Are you following your passion? Okay, or are you just doing a job for somebody else in order for them to make more money off you? And then they pass on to you a few crumbs that come out of that. So the big, large accumulators of electrons, okay, as a result of what you do with your energy for them, allows them to use all that energy in which to do what? How much do they give back to everybody else as a result of everything they harvested? Okay? So this isn't waveform alignment. Okay? You got a lot of folks around here on this planet that have accumulated an enormous amount of energy. So what do they do with that energy? That's what we measure in the cosmos. What are we doing with our energy? So if we're all sharing in waveform alignment with all the energy that represents what we are, because we're attracting so much light, which is what love is, then you can imagine we're all in no time. Now we're able to manifest together in our conscious creative mind, using that energy to do it with. None of us are held captive by anything. That's how simple it is. That's why this is a classroom. Because all you have to do is look at what she does. She's giving away energy. And she does it without a fee. She doesn't charge you anything for her energy. No different than I don't charge anybody else for my energy. That's why everything that I write and I create and I share with everybody, it's for free. Okay? I don't think and I don't believe and don't have a living philosophy that is based on property. I own it. You can't own the universe. You can't own the universe from which creation takes place. Okay? That's why native Indians don't perceive this native planet of ours as something that charges a fee. We are in waveform alignment, energy giving, with the same energy giving that she does. That's a teacher down here. That's what the tribes are and the clans. The teachers, the healers, and the peacekeepers. So we use the power of our heart to keep the peace. Okay? Now I realize you get into the whole genre, if you will, of weapon systems, needing to protect our energy, and on and on and on. But for the purposes of what I thought I would do this video for, dealt more with programming, programs, and deprogrammers, and free will, conscious, creative mind, holographic simulators. Okay? Because I know that anybody that's ever worked in vocational education, when you're using your hands and your mind to build things like in manufacturing, okay, then you've got to find some source in which to get the resource from which you can build a machine or build the tools in which you're now going to construct something that you've already got in your head what that design specification is going to be, and now you're going to use time and energy to build it with, which means since the image is already in your head, why don't you just manifest it? Okay, instead of having to take all the time and the energy and the resources from which it's extracted from who? Her. So when you're taking all the gold out of the planet, when you're taking all the silver out of the planet, when you're taking all the minerals out of the planet, then you're saying, hey, we just took all this stuff from her. Now we're going to use it based on a money system in which now you're held captive to the money and the time. Okay? Because that's how it works. That's what they do. So they're actually using her energy, okay, to say, hey, here's her energy, the gold, the silver, the platinum. And we're going to use her energy that she's giving away for free, okay, that is going to underlie the money system that we're going to use in incremental values. Now, for me, that's not how we do things. Okay? When you're giving away all your energy for free all the time, just like she is, you can imagine how we perceive being aware of how that works. We're not ever going to fit into something like that. Okay? So they're different. So the next part that I wanted to get into is when I thought about what that woman was doing. She was held captive to the technology, and since the technology that she was using wasn't able to perform in her own mind, the data transaction she was trying to do that took time was delaying the line and the energy from being able to free itself that was being held captive by the phone that she was being held captive by that took so much time to get that transaction done. So I walked up to a guy after I walked out of that store, and I said, I want to share some information with you. So that's sort of like a transmission. So what I'm looking for is to see if he's responsive to the information, which is an energy transfer, which is a data transfer, which is a knowledge transfer. So here the light is wanting to communicate with the light that is held within what he knows, all the data that he runs off of, because I know he's running off memory program. So I said, you know what happens if you're being held captive by technology, right? In order to perform a function. That means that your function becomes dependent on technology. That's a cyborg. That's an android. That's artificial intelligence. That's not who we are. Spirit came before the machine. You think that the first creation that ever took place from what love and light simulate, what it is that's in their infinite imagination, the first thing was a computer? Okay, a cell phone? Particularly when you consider how much is held within the light and infinite imagination, and that is represented by all the data, then you can imagine when you realize how that data, when you're running on no memory, is running at such a high speed rate, the only way that all of that information, which is always changing because one thing is different from the last thing, that means that data is always changing. That's why you can't have a monopoly on data. That's why you can't have a monopoly on a patent. That's why you can't have a monopoly on any story, because it belongs to the universe. It belongs to the entire cosmos, because that's the energy that you're using to experience it with. It belongs to everybody. Which means we don't hold energy captive, do we? No. Which means we don't hold a story captive. No, we just share all our stories for free. Because this is what we become aware of in the energy that we're using to experience it with, which is the cosmos. So it's easy to live in peace, love, and harmony when you realize that everything is changing, but you have the infinite light in which you're using to create what it is you thus experience at the frame rate speed in which you're doing it. So you're constantly manifesting with no memory. So imagine when we're all living in no time. Our potential is unlimited. We're manifesting a new world. We're manifesting another universe. So imagine that we do that through our collective consciousness, because the frequency is so high that the amount of what we're aware of that is in all that light is infinite. That's why the neurotransmitters run at such a high speed. Because I imagine myself, wherever you find love and living spirit, you'll find us. Love is the energy that we use because we hold all life sacred in the cosmos, okay, to celebrate it with. because it's the most beautiful, most powerful, magical energy to experience. Children know that. Children can feel how powerful your magnet is because they're attracted to your light, because you have so much love within your heart that you're explaining to them how it works. Now they can experience that through their heart, and when they realize how powerful their heart is, and they feel that in living spirit, in that light, my God, you've unleashed another creative artist that is free to create and imagine what's possible. That energy unlocks the prison doors, so your mind's not held captive to a machine. So we use these things as tools to communicate, but we don't allow the machine to hold us captive. So the other day when I had an experience when I lost my phone, I wasn't in a hurry necessarily to get it replaced. Oh, I gotta have that cell phone to communicate with. By the second day, I'd forgotten about it. I thought, well, wait a second, I'm not done. I probably need to get a phone. But I began to realize, hey, it's out of my memory already. Really? Yeah, because I don't allow these things as attachments to hold me captive. Anything captive, for that matter. That's why it's so easy to forget things that I have in possession. Hey, just give them away. They're unimportant. What's important to me is what love is and what light is that we're using to share what is held within that light with everybody in the cosmos. Which is why, as a child, for example, I'm wanting to give everything away. I'm in the wrong dimension for that. You got to accommodate the avatar. This thing needs water and food. Actually, how many days can you go without food? I have fasted before on a number of occasions, and it's good to do that. Next thing you know, you got more energy. Things are changing. Recalibrate things. So you begin to realize the power of the avatar that the girl gave you to experience her realm with so much love in your heart. Now you're in alignment with her. You're giving away all your energy. That's how it works. That's why it's so painful for me when I see all these YouTube videos about, well, this is what's going to happen, 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 this is what's going to happen. It's just like, okay, that's what you believe, that's what you think, that's how you experience who you are. But what I never hear very much of, unless I go to Project Ascension with Patty Broussard and Karen Ann Luke McDonald, that make a strong reference to who Gaia is, who the great living spirit of Mother Earth is. It's almost like that's off limits. Nobody wants to talk about her. This is her classroom. She does the physics in here. They didn't talk about that in any elementary school I went through. They didn't talk about her in any junior high school I went through. They never talked about her in any high school I went through. Yet I was always wanting to be with her. That's because we're native to her realm. I tell people all the time, I work for her. Okay? That's what it means to be a peacekeeper, a healer, and a teacher here. So I'll leave those things for everybody to think about. For those of you that, whoever that might be, gosh knows who that is. But I know one thing that happens when I do these videos. This is putting data and information and everything that is held within the light that represents what I'm putting in there is going to be experienced by other beings because of the speed at which that information, that data is being transferred. Because I've already experienced others on different networks and different channels, including Fox News, that are almost spitting out verbatim information that I put in there before they kicked it back. Okay? Those are neurotransmitters. The data is being sent through all the neurotransmitters at a very high rate of speed. Welcome to the morphogenetic field structure. That's how children in China can learn and start off at the level of skill, okay, that it took other children in the city of Los Angeles 5 years to reach. You mean to tell me that the children in China started off at the level, at the 5th year, skill level wise, that the children in Los Angeles did when they invented a game and they started playing it and they mastered it? It took them 5 years. and yet the same group, not the same group of children, but the age group in terms of what you call a control group, I guess, which means you have to control the variables to a certain degree so you can sort of validate the result that you get. But the bottom line was this, is that the children in China, when they started playing the game, started at the skill level that the children in Los Angeles had left off at, but it took them 5 years to get there. Okay, which means, the cosmos is intelligent enough that you shouldn't have to go through all the redundancy. So that's called the speed of the transmission, the speed of the data that went between the children in Los Angeles to the children in China. That's how neurotransmitters work in a network. Anyway, I'll leave you with that for the day. Have a great day. Be good to yourself. I'm living through my heart. That's where all the love is. That's the power of the neurotransmitters. Bye now.